couple come in this week. Ashton Sanders, defensive lineman out of Los Angeles. Then we got Taylor Wein from Nolensville, Texas, and also a defensive lineman or / outside linebacker coming off the edge.
Yeah, Mark, this was going to be a really big recruiting weekend for Oklahoma, just in general. Oklahoma had quite a few high-profile 4- and 5-star kids on campus for not only the 2023 cycle but the 2024 cycle as well, and the individuals that you mentioned as well were there. Ashton Sanders pulled the trigger, I believe, on Sunday, and Wein pulled the trigger on Monday. I think both were fairly solid in what they wanted to do before the visit, but I think the visit really kind of solidified certainly that for both of those kids. So Ashton Sanders, as you mentioned, he was previously, I think anytime when you look at recruiting, there's always, especially from a team like Oklahoma, I think there's always a little bit of a wry smile when you see 3-star kids, being committed. But you've got Ashton Sanders, who was previously, as you mentioned, from California, previously committed to California earlier in the year, decommitted, early in the fall season here in late August, early September, I believe. He's a guy that I think is a little bit under the radar, from California. He's actually going to be in the Army All-American game. So take that what you will, but decent size from a defensive line perspective. So another good get for Oklahoma, and then you've got the Wein kid as well. Again, another 3-star kid, kind of diamond in the rough type of kid as well, but another guy on the defensive side of the ball as well. Another edge guy, could be a linebacker as well, from the state of Tennessee. So a couple of, Oklahoma's not really had much positive momentum on the recruiting trail over the last, I would say probably the last 3 to 4 weeks, but I think things are starting to solidify themselves a little bit. And I think the big one, the big two were DJ Hicks and Peyton Bowen being on campus. I think, if you follow the DJ Hicks recruitment at all, which I think a lot of people here have been, he has, committed to Texas A&M for a while, and then with everything going on with Texas A&M, there's been very little contact from Jimbo Fisher and the staff with DJ Hicks over the last month. And that's kind of opened the door for other schools, particularly Oklahoma. Was on campus, as I mentioned, this past weekend. Was decked out in Oklahoma gear for the for the visit. So I think things went really, really well. Again, for Hicks, it's going to be a signing day thing. Maybe even going into the later signing period, to be honest. But I don't think. I mean, and it's kind of funny. You have guys that will come out out of the woodwork saying, yeah, they think this guy's coming to Oklahoma now. He's very tight-lipped. So I don't think anyone really knows what he's doing right now. He is going to A&M again this next weekend for the LSU game, I believe. So if that doesn't get canceled, that and all indications is that it won't. And so that one is a little bit, it's tougher to call. I mean, I think A&M still leads, but I think when you look at some developments going on with Texas A&M, right, and I think a lot of people have seen the picture on social media of what that stadium looked like in College Station in the second half against UMass. It was very, very sparse, to say the least, in the second half. And I know that the weather kind of had something to do with that, and the opponent, and kind of how things are going. But with the uncertainty in the air regarding Jimbo Fisher right now, and not sure what what that means from a future perspective, they're a little bit more. I don't know that I would say in shambles, but I think they're a little bit less set on what that looks like next year, where Oklahoma's a little bit more set with it being a first year staff. So that'll be something that, obviously, that people will want to keep their eye on. And then the other one is Peyton Bowen. We've talked tons and tons about this kid. He's been to Oklahoma, I would say no less than 10 to 12 times on officials. Mostly he was there again in Norman on Saturday. I think a couple of things to keep in mind with him. His girlfriend has signed, has committed to Oklahoma for soccer. And so, I mean, I think that with kids this age, 17, 18-year-old kids, that means a lot. Particularly a guy that's been very pro Oklahoma along the way. And I think the other thing, for the first time, you've seen some guys have officially, predicted that flip, meaning, through 247 and Rivals have already, predicted the flip to happen to Oklahoma. And that's really, there's been a lot of kind of conjecture around how it looks like this is looking good for Oklahoma, but there's not to this point been anybody willing to kind of go out on a limb and say, hey, I'm, willing to, put that on the table for an Oklahoma, for a flip to Oklahoma, which has happened now. So I think things of the two, I think you've got probably a higher percentage that Bowen lands in Norman than DJ Hicks at this time. But Oklahoma's also recruiting DJ Hicks' high school teammate linebacker, who is, again, those are another couple of people that have announced that they feel like that he's very close to flipping to Oklahoma. So there's a lot of positive things going on from that perspective. So I think if you had to nail me down from a percentage perspective, I would say maybe 25 to 30% chance of DJ Hicks flipping, but I think there's probably, in the neighborhood of everything that I'm hearing, both kind of locally and nationally, somewhere in the neighborhood of probably 65 to 70% that Bowen flips. I know that Mr. Ron Brown will obviously very much disagree with me and anyone on this, but I agree with him on the Hicks. I don't think it's a high percentage, but at this point I would be pretty from everything that I'm hearing, I would be a little bit surprised if Bowen does not go ahead and flip to Oklahoma, which would be just a really good flip, another 5-star kid. Safety, defensive backfield guy, top 30, 40 overall player in the class. So we'll see how that goes. And I know there's a couple of comments about Tasuli Akana, the edge kid out of Utah, and I think that one's been going for a while. And still, he's a kid that is very, very tight-lipped, just in terms of from a social media perspective. So he's not leaning necessarily, at least publicly, one way or the other. I think OU's very, very strong in the mix there. I think you've got some schools like Texas and Oregon that are in the mix there as well. So those are probably the 3 or 4 guys that Oklahoma will want fans to make sure that they keep their eye on heading into signing day.
This is so far, it's early in the show, but this is so far the comment of the day right here. Girlfriends are undefeated. That's pretty good.